Come on. Come on.
Okay, we're ready. We're ready.
We're here.
All right. Welcome back, boys. How the hell are we?
Doing pretty good.
Dude, I got 3 dogs in the house. Absolute dogs pulled up. So, welcome back to Hottest Take Podcast. This one's going to be a little different. I have a different crew with me today. Dave and Dalt are on the road. They're on a bachelor trip
Oh, yeah.
in Colorado. Probably skiing and shit. I don't know if you can ski in Denver. You probably cannot. But Dalton probably thinks he can. I'm definitely not hinting at that he bought skiing goggles for this bachelor trip.
Wearing them the whole time.
There's no ski slopes even close to where they are. That's so funny. But no, I got some of the original dogs, dude. Some of the earliest listeners. And so Lyndon,
Yeah.
right here.
That's me.
One of the OG dogs. We got Jack,
Hey, what's
an
up?
OG dog.
I commented on a lot of the videos.
Comments, some good comments. One of my favorite ones too about our feet being out in one video.
Oh
It's
yeah,
one of my favorite
got the
comments.
dogs out. Yeah, I
Yeah, we had the
remember that
dog.
one.
We did have the dogs out.
You did. All of you did. You all.
And
had
then
TikTok one.
my dumbest brother,
I'm
the
not the
evil
dumbest
one,
brother.
Actually,
I'm not actually evil
the
either, by the way.
evil brother, Eli, dude.
It's his second time on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You,
I've never been on the
formerly known as
podcast.
No, you
Wingman.
haven't.
I've never been
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
podcast.
Now,
Go back in the archives
yeah,
That was not me.
of a 20 episodes,
He
or
was
archive of
actually
20 episodes.
sitting in the back,
Deep archive.
drinking a beer and playing Hearthstone on his phone. It's kind of crazy.
That's not true.
You play Hearthstone?
No. I don't. I've never played Hearthstone.
So,
ever.
I should mention though early on this is not a normal pod. This is something new. I've hinted at it a couple times. I even hinted at it a couple episodes ago what the topic would be on. But this is the first episode of, I think I'm going to call it this because it's shout out to George Carlin, or not George Carlin, but Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. I'm naming this is Softcore History. This is the first episode of Softcore History. So let's, y'all want to just jump right in?
Sure.
All right, we start this story as any story does with the birth of the first citizen, not named Augustus yet. Did y'all know that?
Mm-hmm.
Augustus' name
Yeah.
for a long time was Octavian. He's born to Gaius Octavius, I think that's his name. Yeah, because I think that's how
Octavius is
Roman
the
name.
same
Yeah,
name.
you get like your dad. Your first name is your dad's last name, kind of thing. I think
Is there any
that's what it
records of how much he weighed
Who?
at birth?
is. Dude? I'm pretty sure he weighed like 3
Yeah,
pounds.
probably like
Because
2
he
or
was like a
3.
little weak, sniffly.
Oh, well.
Yeah, he was not well when he was born. He was born like a, I don't know.
Born like a poor town, wasn't he?
Yeah, like his parents were like living. Now his parents did have attachments because so now his dad had like served in governmental roles, and his mom was a niece of Julius Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole connection that starts us off. But by the way, his mom said though, pretty early on, because dad dies when he's real young, becomes a little orphan, a little bastard, and his mom rumored that Apollo, the god, was actually his dad, and she said it all the time. So, and that might come back, and that might come into the future. So, but it's kind of, I like the idea though of the fact that, because like I said, he was a really weak, little sickly kid.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the Apollo's mortal son is just like this, like he's just sniffly, and sick all the time. They say he was like bedridden all the time, and they thought he almost died a bunch as a kid. But that's Apollo's son, dude. I swear that's Apollo's son.
I remember him
God's
like
son.
used to brag about it all the time about being Apollo's son.
You were there?
No, I just remember that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think he was there.
from when? You were there, weren't you?
I think I remember that from like history and school and shit.
Wow. Yeah, that he was a sniffly kid.
Mhm.
No, I think Augustus, the reason I also want to talk about this is because Augustus kind of gets misunderstood. They apply what Julius did to what Augustus, and like, a lot of people kind of think he's like a real like badass. And he's really not. He's just kind of like smarter than the rest of the chums that were sitting around. Because like I said, he's a weak little kid, weak little dweeb almost, kind of sniffly, sickly all the time. And after his dad dies, he moves in with Meemaw. And Meemaw is Julia, the sister of Julius Caesar.
And
So
she was
now-
very beautiful. Records.
Beautiful.
Records say she's very
beautiful.
beautiful.
I mean, gorgeous.
I've never seen her, but I know she's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
They all had
Mhm.
funny hair. They all had like really short hair, curly hair.
Funnily beautiful hair.
Funnily,
Very beautiful hair.
Yeah, just
Okay.
extremely beautiful.
so he moves in with his Meemaw. He moves into Meemaw's house, and he gets to pull off his first flex after being raised by Meemaw, right? She dies when he's like 13 or 14, okay? He gets to speak at her funeral. Puts on this, like, magnificent speech. We don't have any record of it, obviously. Because they were probably so caught up they couldn't chisel this down. They couldn't get
This guy's a leader.
They couldn't get the stone out and chisel this down real fast enough. This guy is just he's up there just putting on a show at Meemaw's funeral. Immediately after this, he becomes a pontifex, which is like a religious official at like 14.
Why? Because he just spoke well.
Yeah, he spoke well at a church.
Yeah. And he's the son of God.
Yeah, and he's the son of God. He's Apollo's son.
That's true.
And he just like, dude, they're like, that kid.
He loves his
dude, back
Meemaw.
then, all you had to do was have a cool one-liner. Or you say one cool thing, and you're like, this guy. I'll follow him. But no, they make him at 14 like a religious leader. Yeah. So just imagine like going to like a Catholic church today. And then like a little boy just comes out and starts speaking in Latin, perfect Latin. He's just singing, "Oh, Father." That's him. He's 14, little sickly little kid though, but he's already a religious leader. I mean, just one speech, he's in. So this is where he starts doing a little bit of networking. He's like starting to meet people. People are getting to pray for him and stuff. He's telling people like, you should give like 38 pence this week, or like, just giving religious advice. But he's laid up at the house a lot. He's really
still sick.
Yeah. To be fair to him, mom's a little controlling, which is pretty common back then. It's a real weird thing when you're reading through the Caesars that like all of them had like weird relationships with their moms. A lot of them. I don't know what that is.
I would too if my mom was beautiful as theirs.
Wealthy family, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that because a lot of times too, like when you're reading stories, the mom has more like political significance. Like for Augustus, his mom was Julius Caesar's sister or niece. Like she was the one that had like real attachment to power. Like his dad was just like a kind of like decent, like he was a decent like government official. He like fought in some wars. I think he was like I think they call him like a striver fan. I have no idea what that means. That's how much research.
He was just a working man, ready to get home and eat
yeah.
And sit down in his tub of
his recliner
wine and
turn on Big Bang Theory.
Turn on the Big
Octavian, how the hell are you? Tia,
he just thought it was so funny. The little Indian guy on that show just was afraid of women. He loved that.
Yeah, he is like, these silly dudes. These
He's
are the
very
silliest
silly.
bunch of geeks.
Yep.
Socrates and all the boys on Big Bang Theory. So he had a really controlling mom, and he's like at home a lot. And people at this time though, we do Julius Caesar's have him like this, absolutely just going across Rome, fucking people up. Okay, so he's making noise. He's in Gaul right now, fighting Pompey.
Big Julius is?
Yeah, Big Julius is up there fighting Pompey in Gaul. Okay, and Octavian's laid up in the house, just blowing his nose and taking baths and shit.
Has like one of those old like ice pack head things on.
Yeah.
He's sick.
He's real sick. He's really sick.
I really do feel bad for him that he was so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, evidently he did like come near death just from like illnesses, like his whole life. It's like entire life.
Times.
Yeah,
multiple times.
So he has to like, people are starting to talk, because when you're family with like a leader like that, you're kind of like if you're a dude, at some point you gotta go to war. This is like also the whole time reading this is like he's like 15. Yep. It's like he's a religious leader, and he has to be. And he's getting called a coward for not going to war. Like it's like,
but it's also no one.
You're
like,
a preacher at 15. You're just like, and son, you're going to Afghanistan.
The sickness was never publicized.
No. They just thought he was a coward.
Yeah.
They just thought like, what a weak boy.
Little FDR type treatment
basically,
there.
Yep.
And they were like, "Why isn't he going to war? He's just a little coward."
Yeah, he's just a coward.
Just a little coward.
Little twerp.
Can't believe this
Which was-
15-year-old little twerp won't go to war.
Back then, that was damning.
Yeah.
Damning.
Oh, dude, and joining Julius in a war they could lose.
Yep.
And dude, and the type of battle, like the type of fighting Julius is doing, is the type of battle that like fights you do. Like when you lose, your whole family is now like publicly executed. Because like at this time, what Julius is doing, he's taking advantage of the old Roman political system, which is they don't have impeachments. Like they don't impeach the leader. You just kill him and all his homies, and then like you just get rid of them. Yep. Which is kind of what Julius did bad at. But we'll get into that. So Octavian's laid up in the bed, sniffly, blowing his nose and shit, and he goes, Mama probably, or his homie Agrippa. We'll talk about number one homie Agrippa.
Agrippa.
Marcus
Love
Agrippa will come
We
up
love
several
Agrippa.
times. For Marcus Agrippa
He
is the homie.
is the boy.
So he decide he gets people getting in his ear and is like, dude, people are calling you a bitch.
Little
Right?
sissy.
A little
Little
sissy.
sissy
They're
boy.
calling
Yep.
him names, and he's like, enough mudslinging. I'm going. I'm joining him on his campaign. I'm going to Hispania.
Yep.
He's going to Spain. He's going to go fight in Gaul. He's going to watch his uncle beat Pompey.
He picked himself up on his little spindly
Yep.
chicken legs.
Yep, on his little bad
Walked
chicken
all,
legs.
walked all the way
They
there.
actually saw him on the battlefield with crutches.
Yeah.
Well, so the story is there's a little speculation of the story of him joining there. But this is where this is the moment where Julius or Octavian has the chance now to become somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on this trip to meet up with Julius in Hispania. He knows where his men are. Not really travel back then, dude. It's a coin flip. You're making it to wherever you're going. This trip is over 3 days. It's a coin flip. We're making it back. So they crawl. He hires a crew to sail him across. While he's sailing, there's speculation there was a shipwreck, and he had to he led the men. He definitely did this part where he led the group he was with through enemy territory to join with Julius. That definitely happened. But there's speculation there could have been a shipwreck.
It was like a shipwreck.
Yes, and then
I think I've heard about that. And then during that shipwreck,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing.
What?
during that shipwreck, Augustus led the sailors around the ship. They put the lime in the coconut
Yeah.
and then continued on their journey across the sea.
I think I've heard
Not
that
funny,
too,
but-
some time or two.
I mean, Eli was there.
I wasn't there. I just read history stuff. So.
Oh, you
no,
read history
no,
stuff?
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, go ahead though.
So yeah, he joins up with Julius, and Julius himself, I think, had heard rumors I heard I got this weak ass little grandnephew somewhere.
He used to thump him in the forehead all the
Yeah,
time.
they go, yeah. So he thought he was coming there too, but then Octavian just shows up
Yep.
at this battle.
ready
It's
to fight.
oh, by the way,
But
it's almost over.
No,
By the time he does
Julius
make
has
it,
already won.
yeah, he just won.
And it was crazy because Octavian fucking shows up. Julius has already won.
Yeah, yep.
He's just sitting there and he's like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
Basically. But then he then realizes
Pretty fucked
He
up
had-
to say that, by the way.
he had no idea. I'm saying Julius is saying that Octavian had no idea whether or not they'd won.
Right.
So-
Yeah, he Octavian gets credit from Julius for being like, hey, that's pretty brave that he kind of set out not knowing what was going to happen. If I had won, he could have easily pulled up on me getting defeated.
Yep.
He's like,
Yeah.
the fact that he took this chance shows that he's got something in him.
Yep.
So then he joins
dog.
Yeah, he's got the dog in him. He's got the dog in him. So Julius goes, damn, this kid's got the dog in him. Let me put this kid on. He's going to join my party, and we're going to travel back together, campaign together, parade together, and dude, in this time that they're together, immediately Julius is like, this is him.
It's also
This is the one.
This is
it's
the
worth
successor.
mentioning.
This is him.
It's worth mentioning on the way back from Pompeii.
Yeah.
From fighting Pompeii.
Yeah,
not the actual
crushing
place.
Pompey.
But on the way back from fighting Pompey, Julius and Octavian rode in the same carriage, which back then that was insane.
Yeah.
If you ride in the same carriage as
Yeah, damn, he
that
likes
big
you.
of a figure.
Right.
So that pretty much already said from that point forward, Octavian was somebody in the royal.
Yeah. Right.
picture.
Right. Yeah, he's showing with this action of inviting me in that he's like, I consider him a part of my lineage and family.
His entourage.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So at the same time, though, there's a little. Julius does have a homie. All right, he's in this thing called the Triumvirate, which is like a government leadership between three people, and he's with it with Mark Antony.
Mm.
Mark Antony, bro. Remember that name? A little
He's
Bastard.
a little,
Bastard.
dirtbag.
Dirtbag, dude. Mark Antony sucks. He sucks. He literally is just like a sniffling, whining.
Yeah, he was based really well off the play when they.
Is that a character in the play?
Mhm.
Yeah, he probably did a good job on that. But he sucks. He really does. And he is already he's a little suspicious of this. He's like, who is this dude? Just pulled up all of a sudden, got Julius all excited. So that's a little foreshadowing might what happened there. There might be a little jealousy going on here.
Mhm.
But another thing we gotta remember though, that Octavian, at the same time, he's watching Julius like conquer all of these parts of Rome, like putting it back together to do conquering. He's also watching Julius literally leave the country, like politically, militarily, socially, culturally, and economically, like devastated, crippled. Like the country is being like he's fucking up people, but he's also like smashing everything that he's like leaving. Like he leaves behind. Everything's fucked when he leaves it.
Yep.
So Octavian's learning a really good lesson on like what you don't do when you're coming to power here. Like you can't go full king mode because if they figure out you're trying to become the king, they'll do a little something called the Ides of March. I don't know if you boys ever heard that. You ever heard that? Is that in the play?
No, not
That's
familiar.
my first time hearing it.
Oh, so the Ides of March, unfortunately, is the demise of the great Julius Caesar. It's where all the homies from the Senate, led by Brutus and Cassius.
This isn't the place. Sorry, I just remembered that.
This is in the play?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Brutus and Cassius and all
Stab
the
that
Senate,
motherfucker.
they stab him 23 times. Just in their robes.
Even
Getting killed by a bunch of dudes in
even-
robes.
Yep.
Oh,
Even Brutus, man.
Dark
Even the
Brotherhood.
boy Brutus. Just
E2
crazy.
Bruti? E2?
Ain't too brute.
Bro. I mean, so this whole thing, the train is left.
they
the
do
track.
kill him. Getting stabbed 23 times does kill him. By the way,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
he,
it does.
he
It
dies.
does-
after
does
he
die.
gets
It
stabbed.
does.
Julius Caesar does
actually-
die.
It actually
If you didn't
does
know, if you
end
didn't
up
know,
killing him.
Julius Caesar does die after getting stabbed 23 times.
Yeah,
That is-
and
yeah, he does die.
potentially one of
Big-ass
them
daggers,
to
too.
the face that might
Yes,
have happened.
yes.
Could have happened.
Yes. So
I believe Brutus only stabbed him in the back though. Because he
Again,
didn't want to face him.
right again, a classic.
Oh yeah, they were sandwiching him. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
a classic Roman impeachment. A classic Roman impeachment, which is like I said, they just killed them. Like if you don't agree with them, you just get rid of them. Right? They're really French approach to the whole thing. So Caesar's dead, and once Caesar dies, this whole thing's shooting. Where this is the big bang of this whole story. So immediately he dies. Octavian leaves. He's like, "Oh, they're gonna kill my ass too, so I gotta get
Yeah,
out of here."
you
So he
have to
leaves.
leave.
He leaves.
Bastard Mark Antony, bro.
Mark Antony. He says that we need to read his will. When he reads his will, dude, Mark Antony literally just got the worst news of his life. Because when he's opening this, he is fully prepared to see my successor is Mark Antony, right? And he reads, "My heir is my sick nephew, Octavian." That dude is
And Mark Antony was like, "Ain't no
evidently,
way."
Way.
evidently.
It's
As soon as Julius Caesar arrived back in Rome from his campaign, he immediately wrote down that.
some
Octavian's
very
the
very
heir.
very important context with Mark Antony though is that in the past, while Julius was gone, like fighting Pompey, Mark Antony was in charge.
Right? Yeah. True. Yes.
He had left
been
him in
led.
charge, and
Yeah.
he fucked everything up in Rome.
Right.
Like it
right,
was
right, right.
all fucked
Oh
up.
yeah. He fucking
and
sucked.
and Julius came back. He was pissed.
Yeah.
He was pissed
Yep.
at that motherfucker. And they were like homies.
Yeah, because
Like, straight up.
it's fine for all like the territories of Julius to be kind of fucked up to him. He was fine with that. Like Rome was all right already, so it's like don't fuck up Rome. Like we're fine.
Yep.
Like we'll.
And Mark Antony was a little frat boy.
Yeah.
Little frat
we
boy
open
piece of
that?
shit.
I don't want to lose my
And
grip
he
on
was
the mic.
he just fucked everything up.
Yeah, so Mark Antony,
grip.
showed that he was
Agrippa, if you will.
Dude, don't speak. on
Don't
Agrippa.
don't speak
Agrippa's
ill
the homie.
on Agrippa. Agrippa is awesome.
Right. So
Just trying to make a little history joke. Just don't need y'all to come down on me. But
Yeah, he was.
yeah, I mean it's fun, bro. It's fun.
didn't really mean anything.
Keep trying to be
by it.
funny over there. It's fun. We're gonna get to the real shit though.
Oh my bad.
All right. This is only supposed to be interesting. It's only supposed to be guys. This podcast is this history podcast is only for guys to watch and go like, really? Wow. That's all it's supposed to be. Okay.
Okay.
They can repeat it to their friends and seem cool.
Yeah, that's.
That's
I
the
get.
point
I
of all this.
understand. No.
So quit fucking it up with all your stupid jokes about how this was based on a play.
Okay.
Because
my
people are
bad.
going to get confused and they're going to think this is a real story.
It's fun watching plays.
Okay? This is a real story.
This really.
He-
happened.
But it was based on the play. Just saying.
No, the
Hey,
play was based on it. Shakespeare lied. He didn't say E2 Bruti. He probably went, oh, damn. Stabbed a bunch.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one. So
Okay.
Hey,
Whatever.
hey,
All right, let's get back to Octavian. Everybody just found out Octavian's the heir, right? Well, Mark Antony tries to hide that first off. Mark Antony immediately takes the money that Octavian's supposed to get and uses a lot of it, and he says that Julius wanted to go back to the States. So Octavian Mark Antony just gives away some of Octavian's money. Which that's happened twice, by the way. In Octavian's life, his father's the inheritance he got when his actual dad died. His guardians mismanaged his funds and lost all of his inheritance.
Damn.
So the second time he gets a large inheritance, he does get most of Julius Caesar's inheritance, but a lot of it was given away too. And also in the will, Julius adopts him from the grave. So post mortem, he becomes
Daddy.
Diddy. So this throws a whole wrench in the whole thing. I mean, Mark Antony's pedoed. I mean, he's pissed off. Seriously. Octavian's out of Rome at first, but his mama Tia, like I said, very controlling mother. He's a mama's boy.
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. And he's a bit of a mama's boy, so he immediately Patrick Bateman. Not Patrick Bateman, but what's
Patrick Bateman.
Norman Bates. Norman Bates. See where I got that? Patrick Bateman, psychopath, is Norman Bates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has that type of relationship. So Tia tells him he needs to grow a pair and go back to Rome. And Agrippa, his homie, also, who's like a really good soldier by this point already.
Have to go back to Rome right now.
He's like, dude, you gotta go back. It's not cool that you're even at home right now. Oh, you're at home playing video games? Yeah. Well, you could be the leader of Rome.
Yeah.
So
you could be the leader of Rome.
So they go back, and he finally goes back. He's got some men with him. And what are you eating? Dude's eating candy on my podcast. Dude's eating candy on my
Not even to
podcast.
mention, those are mine. You didn't even ask.
All
You
right,
are
so
watching
they
him
go back
steal
to
from
Rome, and when they get there, Mark Antony and Octavian's troops face off. But in the midst of it,
Face off.
yeah, like epic rap battles of history. Mark Antony versus Octavian. Begin.
I am sick and dying in my bed. I am crying.
Dude, dang, you should write for epic rap battles of history. There probably is a Roman. There is definitely a couple. There has to be a Julius Caesar.
It's probably
Mark
educational.
Antony.
I believe there is a epic rap battles with Julius Caesar.
There probably is a Julius Caesar, or
good.
there might be an Augustus and Mark Antony. Like that wouldn't be crazy if I looked this up afterwards.
That is a perfect question to ask why I have Lyndon on the podcast. He's really into epic rap battles history. He's been for a long time.
You love that shit.
Shut up. I watched like the first 5 episodes and I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
It's all
Yeah,
Hitler
never
versus
watched it
Jesus.
more.
That's enough.
No reason to be embarrassed.
All right, back.
Okay, yeah, back to the story. So, Octavian and Mark Antony are facing off, right? But then they're like, hold up. Whoever comes out of this a winner, first off, it's going to be fucked up. They're going to be so fucked up.
Yep.
And when we get back to Rome, with whoever goes back to Rome, is going to deal with the same sin that just stabbed our last leader
Yeah.
23 times in the back. They're like, we got to do something about that. So they go, all right, truce for now. We're still rivals. We're like Pokemon rivals. I'm Red, you're Gary, or whatever. I don't know. I'm going to get that reference wrong so you don't think I'm too big of a nerd. They're rivals, but they're going to hold it off for now. They're going to go clean up. They got to clean up Rome first because it's nasty. There's a lot of bug men around, dude. And they're no.
What now?
Not them. The other ones.
Okay.
The Romans. Then they got blades on them. They will shank you like it's a county jail, dude. They will literally.
Whoa!
kill
Hold
you.
on.
What?
We're going to bleep that. We're going to bleep that one out.
No, we won't.
We're going to bleep that one out, boys.
Okay. You never seen Locked Up? You never seen Locked Up?
I've seen Locked
I
Up.
watch a lot.
I've also
of
seen
jail.
Stomp the Yard.
Okay.
Not similar
I'm
at
gonna
all.
tell you
but
right now, and this is honest to God, the way that they solved a lot of problems in jail was the same way the Roman Senate handled a lot of things. It's like just stab them a bunch. If we all do it, who's gonna be mad about it? We're all in here. So Octavian, Mark Antony go back, ready to clear out Rome. Right now, during this time, at the same time, they're gonna wean out a lot of the shitty ones in the Senate and in the Roman Republic. Octavian is behind Antony's back, palling up with some of the senators because he wants the senators that are staying to call his army the Senate's army. So he'll be like representing the Senate. So he links up with Cicero, who used to be Mark Antony's boy. He's in the Senate. He's kind of like I don't know. He's like a Rand Paul of Rome. He has some clout. You know.
Okay.
He's I'm trying to think of another politician because I don't really care about modern.
Dick Cheney?
politics. He's like a Dick Cheney. Yeah. He kind of does actually. He's like a bald old white dude.
Yeah,
You know?
like a
He
bald
actually
old
does
white
kind of
dude,
look
yeah.
like
With a
Dick
liver
Cheney.
spot on like the
Yes.
front of his head.
He does like Dick Cheney.
Yes, his sir was notorious for taking his comrades on hunting trips and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
tried to get
shooting
Julius
with
to
a
go on
shotgun.
several hunting trips with him, but
He's
it just
also in
didn't work out.
Skyrim.
Yeah, he's
That's
in
true.
Skyrim.
He is in
That's
Skyrim.
crazy. He is in Skyrim.
But since Cicero, like we were saying, he can get the Senate behind him. Like whatever you want to do, he's the guy. Like he can get the Senate behind him. So Octavian convinced him that Mark Antony's going to like clear out the whole Senate. And he's not going to want you back, and he backs Octavian. Gets the rest of the Senate back Octavian. Now, my favorite part of this whole plan to wean out, clean up Rome, all the guys that killed Julius, was they did this thing where they said that they were to pay for this war they're about to have against Cassius and Brutus, because Cassius and Brutus are in the east. They run off and they gather armies. They have pretty good armies actually. They're pretty big. While they need to fund all this, we're going to randomly select 2,000 members of the Roman public, and we're going to legally make it where they have to forfeit their lives and property,
Yep.
which means that anybody can murder them and take all their shit. All 2,000 are senators and people who were rivals of Julius Caesar, Augustus, or Octavian, and Mark Antony. All three of them. It's like, so it's not just like Julius Caesar's assassins and like people like plotting against him, but just like people that Octavian and Mark Antony didn't like, including Cicero.
Yeah, including
because Cicero had backstabbed Octavian or Mark Antony. Mark Antony had him killed, even though Octavian had just like befriended him.
Yep.
So he was like pissed off that his friend had got a new friend. So he's like, kill Cicero's ass too, actually. And Cicero had no plans of like going against either one of them. He just like went against Mark Antony just enough. He's like, you're a bit of an annoying person.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and get rid of you too.
But hey, look, Cicero, one of
Yeah.
those badass
based.
one-liners
Oh yeah,
of all time
Yes.
before he dies.
right.
He shows his neck
Yep.
to the assassins and says, "Get it right the first time,"
Yep, that's what he did.
and then
Based.
proceeds to
Yeah,
die.
it's based.
And
It's
then
really
dies.
based. All the other ones were probably like,
Awesome.
Please don't kill me, please.
Oh,
I'll give you
please.
all my Roman coins. I don't know what those are called.
Daenerys.
Daenerys.
Quarters
I
and
might be
shit.
Quarters
fucking-
and
that- I
dimes.
might be wrong.
Quarters,
though.
dimes,
It
and
might not be
nickels and
Daenerys. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
It's something with a D. I know that. Okay, so
Schmickles.
they win them out,
Dime.
right?
Dimes.
They win them out.
Oh, yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
after during this time too, Octavian and I forgot a minute. Octavian, Mark Antony, and a dude named Marcus Lepidus
Lepidus.
Yes.
Lepidus.
are they, as a three of them, become the second triumvirate, which means that they're the three consuls who have the most say. So they're the leaders of the country.
Yep.
Lepidus is Mark Antony or Octavian's homie from when he was a preacher, when he was a
Yeah,
pontifex.
he's just like a noble.
yeah, he's
really.
but he was a pontifex too.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of how they have some relationship. They're boys. So Octavian's like, we should have another triumvirate because Julius Caesar, my dad, he was my new dad. Now I never got
Daddy
to
was
call him
from the
dad. I never got to call him dad because he was dead. My new dad.
So sad about that.
So
dude.
sad. My new dad, he was in a triumvirate, so I should be in a triumvirate, and I'll bring him a homie with me because he agrees with me. So fuck Mark Antony. I'll bring my homie on this. So Lepidus comes in. They're the ones together. They're gonna form armies. They're gonna go fight Cassius and Brutus, right? Then they kill the 2,000 people that just like are annoying, and
They were so damn
Really
annoying too, for
annoying.
real.
They were just annoying as shit.
a lot of historians though with that move, it's real shitty what they did, but it's probably the reason Octavian was able to become Augustus eventually and like able to run shit, right? Because he did the thing that Julius never did, which is like purge out the people who do not agree with you.
Yep.
Because like I said, there is no impeachment during this time. You don't get voted off of anything. You just get stabbed 23 times. All right, by a bunch of people in robes. Dudes with robes stab you 23 times. Okay, so Octavian
Kinda like
probably
Cassians.
set himself up to be a successful leader because he just like took out everybody like that he was going to have a problem with. All right, so are you with me?
That's how you do it.
I'm sorry. This guy's over here
Sorry, he made a funny joke.
making funny jokes and
Made a
stuff.
funny joke.
All right.
A joke not targeted at the
So-
target demographic. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to see where we are after. Okay. So they go over Cassius and Brutus. Cassius and Brutus are kind of an easy battles, actually. Not because of anything Octavian does, because Mark Antony is actually the only good quality he has is he's a fantastic military leader. He actually is really good. Now later on in
I feel
life,
like he's very good at speeches too.
No. Other than
no,
that,
Really
he was-
not?
He was not like a very likable guy.
Oh.
Like a lot of people didn't like him. I think he was actually known to be like very coarse and like.
They hype him up in the
That's
play
fine.
as
Yeah.
being like a manipulative, like really good speech.
No, he's very like coarse and like stringent. And
So that's one thing they got wrong.
Yeah, because he's a legionnaire man. Like that's what he is. He's
He's the
Julius Caesar's
perfect-
best lieutenant.
He's the perfect right hand man.
Right.
For sure.
Yes. And so they defeat them easily. Right now, Octavian comes into a little bit of a bout of sickness again. Oh, he's coughing. He's got the ice pack on. his
He's
head.
got one like snot hanging out.
Big
his nose.
snot
Yep,
bubble,
yep.
and he just looks weak. He's in pajamas.
He used to sweat a lot
Yeah.
during those
No.
bouts of sickness. It's true.
So he again miraculously is like, I gotta get out there. I gotta put my shoulder pads on, put my helmet on, hit the gridiron, right? So he makes it back out there. Not only does he make it in time for the end of this battle, he shoulders the eagle for the legionnaires. I mean, he's in there. He's shoulder. Y'all know the eagle, right? That's the,
No
red.
idea.
So every legion in Roman, the Roman military had an eagle, which was like is a statue on like a giant pole. It's like the flags in Civil War, right? Like that was more important than anything else. Like because these legions would,
Do they have eagles in Rome?
huh? Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah. There's a bunch of types of eagles, bro.
Okay.
Not just a bald eagle. I know that's what you're thinking over
Didn't you
there.
play?
That there's only bald
Didn't
eagles.
you
But
play
no.
Assassin's Creed 2?
No.
Yeah, you play Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. They're all over the place.
He didn't know anything.
They're screaming every time you're on top of a building.
Okay.
I
That's
actually
my
learned
fault.
all this from playing Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I didn't read.
So
it.
I didn't
Caesar
have to
died.
jump
Came
on
down
him
and
about this.
stabbed him.
He hit it with a hidden
Ezio
blade.
just fucking destroyed Julius, bro. Stabbed him 23 times.
So Octavian makes it out there. Looks like a badass carrying around this legionnaire stat.
But he can barely hold it up because he's so weak.
He's so weak. So, but he looks like he's in the fight. So he glory hounds. Octavian's a bad glory hound, dude. He really knows how to like kind of show up at the last second and look really good doing it because he's not that good of a military leader. He didn't serve on like campaigns for very long. He did get educated. Like once he made it back to Rome, he was like named like man of the horse or something like that. It's like a position in Roman like.
Oh hell no!
It
Man
sounds
of the
like
horse.
the Roman leaders had a tendency to be like,
Hell no!
all right, this is my homie. Let me make up a job for him. He's the man of the horse.
Hell no!
Oh hell no! The man of the horse is here, bro. Here, boy, get down. So they defeat Cassius and Brutus like very easily. The coolest part of that whole that story is that Brutus gets fucking devastated like quickly and kills himself. Cassius
Feels horrible.
Well,
about it.
no.
Brutus does. Brutus,
No,
Cassius.
it's not that. It's not that. No, Brutus actually had like a whole front still.
No,
fine.
Cassius and Mark Antony draw, and he can't see.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
he-
Cassius
right.
let this happen.
He can't
yeah.
see his own camp, or no, he can't see their camp, like
Yeah.
Mark Antony's camp. He can't see that his men have made it to Mark Antony's camp at the same time that Mark Antony's men have made it to Cassius's camp. So he thinks that they're getting overran without any like attack on the other side.
Yep.
So he just kills himself,
he
not knowing that he just drawed and could probably have retreated and
Yep.
been fine.
This happened first though. That
Yeah,
happened before
Cassius
Brutus.
kills himself. Then
Brutus
Brutus
was after.
Yeah. Then Brutus gets just fucked up.
Mhm.
Brutus just
Brutus-
gets
they
absolutely
roll him.
devastated.
Absolutely roll him.
Yeah. So, and he should have because Brutus was the second hand man to he
Backstabbed him.
Backstabber,
Travis said
dude.
backstabber.
Little
bro.
bastard.
backstabber.
Manipulated by Mark Antony, bro.
Yep. No.
Cassius. That was Cassius. Who
Yeah,
orchestrated
that's the
it?
play, dude. I don't.
Sorry.
That did not happen.
Sorry.
That-
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure. Honestly,
That's all I know about
I
is the
never
play.
saw. I've never seen anything where saying that Mark Antony was plotting it. Like honestly, Mark Antony, like the only reason he turned sour
Also, my knowledge
is
of the
because
play
he for real was like,
might
why
be
would I not be here?
Not
Right.
right.
He He probably did though.
I don't know.
But, I mean,
It
it's
just
just speculation, but he.
the only
probably
weird thing is
did.
because he does stay in Rome. Now this is a complete amateur historian speculation here.
Wait, no.
There's a weird thing that he does. He does stay in Rome too. Like Octavian leaves, but Mark Antony
I'm
just stays
pretty
in Rome.
sure Mark
Yeah.
Antony's like a huge bastard in the
Well-
Shakespeare play, right? am I remembering that right, or
I mean, he's a huge bastard in real life. He just sucked.
was
And now he's still alive.
old
Old, yep. Greek. And dude, imagine these guys.
Roman,
Imagine these
not
guys
Greek.
seeing, or not Greek, but Italian. Imagine these
Roman.
guys seeing Italy today. It's like, y'all aren't number
What
one
the hell
still?
happened here?
Wait, was Rome in Italy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because they got the Colosseum and shit there.
Yeah, or it's because they have Rome in Italy.
That's true. That's also true.
Yeah, they do. So
I don't really know history very well.
That's geography, man.
Let's see, where are we? Let's see.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah, I don't really.
Okay, yeah. All right, so the
Rome's
thing
in
I've left
Israel.
out is that
It's the Vatican.
when Mark Antony and Octavian have a little makeup sesh, right? Dude, my pants have been so hot this whole time. That's probably been shown.
Looks
Why
good,
is Italy
bro.
called Italy and not Rome?
Shut up.
Let me fix my britches. Get past this part. All right. So wait, yeah. Octavian and Mark
Shit with
Antony,
the
when they're
boot.
patching things up, right? They have to. They did this thing back then. They're like, yo, let's play, forget, and you marry my sister or marry my daughter.
Well, who's marrying who?
Yeah.
Mark Antony's sister Claudia married Octavian when they made up the first time.
Was she good looking?
I think she's beautiful. Probably.
She was beautiful.
okay, good.
Now, but this is where that happy marriage ends quickly, because there's one little dog, and I call him a dog just because I like that he kept going for this long. One of Pompey's boys is still alive, and he's down south. Sextus Pompey.
Oh, yep.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Sextus Pompey.
All right.
He's a boy.
A real
All right,
dog.
definitely, yeah.
All
Had
right.
still been down south of Rome fucking stuff up. Okay? And we need to handle this. So instead of Octavian going to handle Pompey, he's like Sextus, if you will. Which, by the way, did y'all know September used to be Sextember? That's what the Roman name was for it.
Right before November.
Sextember.
There's something that happens in November that would make that.
That would be
make a
shit.
whole lot more
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Whole lot
I mean,
more sense.
October comes before November.
Yeah, why is October
wait.
called October? 'Cause isn't Oct? Isn't that
Well,
Oct?
you don't know what
Isn't
Roman
that 8? Isn't Oct prefix 8?
Yeah.
So why is
Hey, man,
October
2 months
called October? It's the 10th month.
Romans doing some shit.
Yeah, whatever. So you used to have Sextember,
That's crazy.
named after no, it's not named after Sextus Pompey, but Sextus Pompey fucking stuff up in the south. Instead of going to handle him right now, what Octavian decides is, I'm gonna become allies with Sextus.
October is the 10th month.
Yeah, isn't that weird? I thought about that today.
Yeah.
But we call it October. When they add 2 more months, dude, this is a whole conspiracy. Whatever.
Maybe Sextember
we'll
was
crack
like
this
the
in our
month
day.
where they.
We'll crack
Yeah.
this in our day. Put this in the bank. Then
You're
we'll crack
right.
that in our day.
You're right. This isn't.
So to
relevant.
piss off Octavian and to kind of build a little bit of a battle against them, because Octavian and Augustus or Octavian and Mark Antony's relationship is pretty fragile at this point. And
I hate to hear that, though.
Augustus or Octavian just throws like a bunch of gas on the flame, and he's like, I'm just going to divorce Claudia, your sister, and I'm going to marry Scribonius, who is, or Scribonia, because Scribonius will be a boy. Scribonia, who is Sextus Pompey's sister. And
he's mad.
and Sextus Pompey is very excited about this allyship because
Oh, he's excited?
yeah, because Sextus Pompey's like he's forming his own kingdom in the south that's actually doing pretty well, but he knows they're still so pissed about, because he was Julius Caesar's last enemy was Pompey,
Yep.
and this is his son who's like been down south, starting Parthia with his nation, which is like doing really well. So he's like, oh, this would get rid of this whole, because he's worried this whole time that they're gonna come down here and fuck me up eventually. But Octavian marries his sister Scribonius. But this is really
Is Never mind.
No, she wasn't. She was not beautiful.
What she look like?
She was like 10 years older than
Wide
Octavian.
shoulders.
I think she was kind of mean.
Oh.
But she did bear him a daughter who he named Julia, who would go
After his
on to
beautiful,
marry.
beautiful adopted
Yeah,
mother.
yeah. And who they would go on to. Scribonia she's not really that important other than she is the great grandmother to
Tiberius.
Caligula,
Septum.
Caligula. Yeah.
and
Tiberius Septum.
great grandmother, three times grandmother to Nero.
Nero
Yeah.
Tulskate.
And she's just like a side character. She ended up giving birth to 2 more emperors. The 2 worst ones, the 2 bad ones, the 2
Nero's
really
awesome.
evil ones.
Nero was just misunderstood, but we'll talk about
Right.
that later.
So she's pregnant for 8 months though, and the Mark Antony's family's pissed during all this time. They send some of their people, Mark Antony's people, like family members, like gather troops up, and we're going to take out Octavian, but the homie Agrippa caught him and just destroyed him, killed his whole family except for like 2 women, and then sent him back to Mark Antony. And Mark Antony had to just be like, well, damn, because he couldn't do anything about it because he like didn't have an army at this time, and because they just got done on campaign, he just let a lot of his men go. He's just like, well, shit, I guess I wasn't even a part of that. That was their idea. That wasn't even my idea. I'm sorry about whatever they were doing. That's my family business.
Weasel, bro.
That was my family business. But he probably would have been very excited if he would have killed Octavian. They would have killed Octavian, but that didn't happen. Now, Scribonia has a daughter named Julia. He immediately divorces her on that day because
Wow.
he's met his love, Livia.
Olivia?
Livia.
It's crazy.
And she's beautiful.
This is his last wife, right?
This is his
no,
last
let
one.
me say-
Livia.
He's obsessed with her.
It
He
is in-
married her for 55 years.
It's incredibly crazy that he divorces Scribonia the day that she gives birth.
The day she gives birth
It's awesome.
to Julia,
That's so funny.
his daughter. He immediately, a little tidbit of knowledge about his daughter. Eventually, in the future, he says he pretty much locks her up in a tower forever for having like loose morals.
Damn.
Yeah, he did that twice. He does that to somebody else. I can't remember. Maybe a
Rapunzel.
sister.
Thought daughter or.
So he divorces his wife on the same day that she gives birth. Marries Livia 3 days later, who's 6 months pregnant with future heir, the next emperor Tiberius. So
And
Tiberius
she is super beautiful.
is
I know
super
that.
beautiful.
Super
Which,
beautiful.
but this her
Yeah, she
having
was
a
really good looking.
child 3 months after the wedding leads to that. There used to be a kind of a famous quote when like you were joking about the royalty. You would say the rich give birth in 3 months. Well, that comes from Octavian married
I see.
Livia, and she was 6 months pregnant, and 3
He
months
already
later
knocked
she had.
her up.
Yeah, no, he hadn't.
Oh.
It's not his biological son.
Whose son is it?
It was her before. She was also married.
So that's why they weren't.
Who is her husband?
I can't remember right
So
now.
that's why they weren't his direct heirs.
No,
know
Tiberius
that.
is his stepson.
I didn't know that.
That's why he
Damn.
still keeps trying to have.
That's a good stepdad.
Yeah, he had now. Yeah, so a big thing. I guess we can get into. Cause I won't get into this a lot later. A little bit. Octavian's like obsessed with having an heir. He like has several. He has like 2 adopted sons. Both of them die on horse accidents later in life.
Horse accident.
Horse accidents, dude. Yeah, you
Not even in battle, just
Bro.
accident.
We're talking about.
Yeah.
If you skint your knee bad enough, dude, you could die of infection.
No,
in 2
one of them,
days.
one of them literally like fell off the horse and like it stepped on his head. and killed
Yes,
him.
yes.
Like, that's pretty much what happened.
One
Sucks.
died on
Damn,
war.
that
One
sucks,
died on
yeah.
a war. One died in battle. He was sieging. One of his like adopted sons is sieging, and he gets like a scratch on his arm, and it rots off.
Yeah,
and
it
dies.
rots.
Yeah, he
and
literally
he
gets so
just
hard.
dies of
Gangrene
infection.
type
Yeah,
shit.
basically.
Yep. So the stepson that Livia has does end up being, and I will talk about him hopefully in future episodes of this. Tiberius
Septum.
is his yeah. Tiberius Septum, his stepson. That will be his
He
heir.
had the voice.
So Livia, they're married. Mark Antony and Octavian actually patch things up one more time in all this because, like I said, it's heating up, especially after he just dissed Claudia, married Scribonia, dissed Scribonia, just to make and I like.
How did Sextus feel about this situation?
Oh, well,
He was probably dead at this point, right?
no, not yet.
You probably didn't know.
Not yet.
Honestly, he
Because
probably
he met
didn't.
Olivia, dude. Livia's a bae.
He probably
Livia's
still
bae.
thought he
Can't
probably
be
he was
mad
probably
about that.
still going
No.
around where he was, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm related to
Yeah,
to the
to Octavian.
future, yeah, the future
Son of
emperor
Apollo.
Because he's not even Augustus at this point.
No, he's Octavian still. He's
still
actually
Octavian.
considered. His name is actually, but there's no. He never went by this, but legally his name is like Julius Caesar Gaius
Yeah,
Octavianus.
his name.
What's up, guys? Made a little mistake. The camera ran out of memory, so the rest of this thing will be audio only. Apologize. You know, the dogs make mistakes every once in a while. Well, enjoy the rest of the video, dudes. Hope you're liking it so far.
Name is
Yeah.
Julius Caesar.
Talk about a
or
mouthful.
No, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it is literally
'Cause
like
Octavianus
Julius
is
Gaius
like-
Caesar Octavian.
Yeah.
Octavianus or whatever.
Because Octavianus like refers to you being like adopted, like in a situation like this. But he always went by Octavian.
That's just way too complicated. Why don't they name like Michael or something?
Dude, there's a lot of stuff. We were talking about this at dinner night. Like, there's a lot of stuff that like contextually I don't understand because it's like they're like jokes or like stuff that has to do with like the just very specific Roman like phonetics, like how like just a very small change this name refers to like a scenario. Going back to the story, we have Mark Antony and Gaius are meeting up one more time, right? If you fuck with that mic a lot like that, it will pick up.
It will.
Yeah. There'll be little taps on the mic.
My fault.
I told you before we started this thing, and I know you're an amateur, so you don't know better. You got to grip the thing up. How you're going to grip it up, you got to grip it up.
Okay, that's
This is future reference.
my bad, guys.
Working with amateurs, man. You do. You've heard our podcast. It's like shit half the time. Who cares? Actually, I think we're getting kind of figured out. I think the last couple episodes we've gotten figured out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're
think
definitely
so.
getting some more views.
I think
Yeah,
Dalton needs
and
to
the
hold his
sound.
mic.
Well, he didn't know how to hold a mic. He didn't know how a mic works.
The last episode.
He's like this. He's like, so yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about
I love you, Dalton.
Arnold and stuff, and it's like you're not talking to anybody. No, yeah, I'm kidding. I'm just letting you know. Because you don't know until you listen to it. And you're
Yeah,
like, fucking just feeling shit.
I can't wait till this ends. I just have to hear you bitch and bitch and bitches.
Dude, this
you
sounds like
ruined
dog.
it, dude. This was the first
We
episode and you
can't-
ruined
yeah,
it.
you keep ruined it. You should just eat chicken wings in the background.
We did.
He already did
apologize
that.
for
So, where are we? So Mark Antony, Octavian are facing off again. Both of them have, or Octavian has a new wife, balling, feeling good. Doesn't need the pomp.
Livia, the house girl.
Livia's at the house.
carrying the burdens.
The only problem is, though, in this whole situation, this is the second time we're facing off. Most of their men made up in their armies are Julius Caesar's old men, and they're worn out. And they just go, they're just plumb worn out. And they just go,
fighting nonstop.
yeah. So the officers of both armies meet in the night, and they're like, let's just not do it. Let's just not do this. It's stupid. They're like, we're going to devastate one another. This is dumb. Let's just tell them we're not going to fight. And they do. The next day, they're like, we're not fighting. And so Julius or Octavian and they make Octavian and Mark Antony just talk it out, and say resolve this again somehow. They fix this whole situation, and also to make it up for this, Octavian lets Mark Antony marry his sister, which
Oh, wow.
he's gonna screw
Wait,
her
wait,
over
wait.
later.
Octavian's sister?
Octavian's sister,
He has a sister?
his sister.
Mhm.
What's her name?
Beautiful. by the
I
way.
think it's
Oh, she
also
beautiful
Julia.
too?
She was beautiful.
I think it's
Oh, yeah.
also Julia. I think her name is also Julia.
Yeah,
Original.
Not a confusing family tree.
Yeah, no,
whatsoever.
dude.
Very original
No,
name there.
They're either just directly named after someone, or it's like parts of someone's name in their name.
Yeah, we got Julia, and then Julius Caesar.
Whose
and
name was
then-
Julia based off
and
of?
then Julius
Julius.
Gaius Caesar Octavianus.
July. It's like July. July. Like there's some stuff that's named after Julius. July.
That wasn't named after him.
Julie.
July was not named after
Yes, it
Julius.
was.
The 4th of
No,
We
July.
have 2 months named after Roman
I mean, they were
leaders.
named
Who?
after the 4th
Julius
of July.
Augustus and Julia.
You know,
Yeah.
with the
July
fireworks
and
everything.
August are both
Julia.
named after Roman emperors.
They had
Sure,
fireworks.
sure. I'll have to look this up.
Whatever,
No.
dude.
Amateur
They
history.
named July Julius because it's Julius Caesar's birthday month.
Right.
Yeah.
and they
They were-
celebrate the entire month for
They
his.
were named after the battle.
It's pretty
of
cool. It
Normandy.
is.
Lyndon seems no more history than y'all.
Listen, shut up.
I know about
You don't know
Julius
anything.
Caesar
Independence Day?
because that's what I read on.
Instead of Augustus.
They are named
So-
after that.
Now,
Kind of crazy.
the cool part, it is cool. I have thought about this
What is
recently.
happening?
I was at night, like laying down, and I was like, it's pretty crazy that they're like we still call 2 months named after guys from like over 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're just like, yeah, it's July. No one-
Tiberius has a month in that.
no, it does. No, he does not.
September. Tiberius September.
Okay.
It does.
Yeah, it's
Tiberius
awesome, dude.
September. Duh.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, Dodoy.
Yeah. Hilarious. Okay, so the men make him talk it out. He gets to marry Octavian's sister. Octavian has a new wife. Both happy. Now we got to deal with Sextus down at the bottom. Down
He's
south.
pissed.
Down south. He's pissed. He is pissed. He's literally like, my sister?
Really?
You don't disrespect me like this? Now, to prepare for this battle,
It's because she had that silly ass name.
yeah. Yeah. it's-
Scarborough or whatever her name
it's
was.
Scribonia.
Oh yeah. Same
So-
difference.
Octavian and Mark Antony both need some things though before they go to war. Octavian has more soldiers. Did I say Octavian has more soldiers? Octavian has more soldiers. Mark Antony has better naval ships and stuff. And so they make a deal where Mark Antony's going to give him like a bunch of ships. Octavian's going to give him a bunch of troops. Octavian sends the ships, and Octavian says, "Lol." Awesome free ships. He never sends them the troops.
Awesome.
And goes down there and fights Sextus, right? Octavian actually does not do well. This is one of the few times he fully leads a campaign. He leads a naval campaign against Sextus. Sextus has a really good navy, fucks him up.
Really?
But number one homie Agrippa, right behind him, cleans it up, absolutely stomps Sextus into the ground and defeats him. And Octavian looks like a damn hero.
Fool.
Yep.
No, he looks like a
No,
hero
no, he
because he
looks like a
stormed
hero.
in. He stormed in and attacked him, and
yeah,
Agrippa
first
finished
going
him
in.
off. And like so, Octavian looks brave. He jumped right into the fight. So he like
Little scumbag.
yeah.
He's so sick, though.
Octavian,
That fight is quite honestly one of the worst, technically one of the worst losses ever experienced in the Roman Empire.
yeah.
If it weren't for the fact that Agrippa came in.
Yeah, right.
behind him.
Julius was Octavian was really close, just losing a pretty large navy. But then Agrippa, dude's just a homie.
The
A
homie, for
homie.
real.
No intention of ever going against like Octavian. Even in the future, and we won't get into this because this is all the boring stuff. I only want to talk about him becoming Augustus because once he becomes Augustus, there's a lot of politics.
Yeah.
A lot later in the future, Agrippa is named the heir, or he's named like the second heir. Like there's another heir, and then there's Agrippa, right?
Yeah.
And the first heir dies, and Agrippa's behind him, and Agrippa's really popular, and Octavian is like moves him in position, like to make him not the heir, but he gives him a pretty good job. And like Octavian, there's like writing where he's said like, I'm really not worried about it though. I have complete faith. This is just my friend. Like I don't have to worry about. I don't trust anyone else in this whole place except him. But he's a little nervous still about it because Agrippa is hella popular, and it only takes one, bunch of guys in a rope stabbing you in the back for you to become,
So, you already saw what happened to Julius
Yeah.
Caesar, like.
It just takes one guy whispering to all the rest of them like, doesn't this guy suck? Should we stab him in the back 23 times? Yeah.
Shouldn't we sandwich stab him?
Yeah.
Just like his stupid ass dad.
Right.
Adopted
So
dad.
Agrippa helps the boy out, and then Lepidus goes. Lepidus already like the triumvirate, right? Lepidus, Mark Antony, Octavian. They all run different sectors of the Roman Empire. They're split three ways. Octavian and Mark Antony have split the east and the west, and Lepidus rules the shitty south. Like
shitty
Carthage
grip on
is
the
like
south.
shit now. Like he doesn't get Egypt because Egypt's still like independent kind of, and then like he just Syria, like he just gets a really just dog shit part. But Sextus is further south than him, and he's been like he started Parthia, which is like a decent little nation underneath him, And Lepidus is like, well, I'm already down here in the south, so I'll absorb this as mine. And Octavian's like, yeah, that's a good idea, but what if you just aren't a triumvirate anymore, and I make you Maximus Pontifex, which is like the highest priest, and you don't have any power anymore? What if that's what we do? And Lepidus wisely goes, yeah, that's what we'll do.
Yeah,
I'll become number one preacher boy, and you can rule the country. 'Cause I'd rather you not kill me in front of everybody right now. So Lepidus is the triumvirate's gone. That's officially the triumvirate. Now, Mark Antony and Octavian still have a lot of power, so it's still split. The power is a little split still, but the whole three guys controlling different parts, that's gone. Lepidus is praying now. Lepidus is playing mage now, and
the wizard.
You're right, he's the
He's
wizard.
Merlin.
And now Mark Antony, because I think also it shows that the whole thing, like Lepidus and Octavian were probably friends, like, or had some type of relationship, because Octavian could have easily just been like,
Well, the way
fucking
that
kill
you,
that guy
Yeah,
later
the way,
tonight,
the way
okay?
you got shit done back then was just
Yeah, you just
killing
killed
whoever
them. You
was
just
in your
killed them.
way.
Right.
And he probably didn't want to kill him.
Right.
So, which that actually shows a lot in Octavian's rise to power. Is he didn't want to kill people, so he gave them an
Right.
option to not
Right.
die, basically.
Unless they really fucked up.
Yeah.
It had to be like all of Julius Caesar's assassins. He like crushed,
Mm-hmm.
and then later after all this fighting that's about to happen, he crushes that. And then like just people who he didn't agree with. After that, like later in life, he becomes a little more docile because there's no real point in it. Everybody likes him. Like
Yeah.
even when the Senate doesn't really like him, they like him compared to other emperors.
Mhm.
So, but the triumphate's falling apart, but it really collapses when Mark Antony, who's been down, now they're down south fighting, so he's been around Egypt. He's been in a little town called Alexandria, right? Where y'all might have heard of this lady, Cleopatra's living.
Beautiful.
Sheesh.
Beautiful.
Actually,
by the way.
not beautiful, but attractive. Because she's supposed to be, it's written that she was neither ugly nor beautiful, but she was
Beautifully
extremely
attractive.
attractive, is what they were said.
Beautiful.
Her, like, she's very her personality is very good. I think she's pretty good in the bed too. What I'm
Caesar
hearing,
was
She
in
can-
there.
because Julius Caesar was in there.
She can
So we'll
also,
get into
Up
that.
and down
She can,
So
now.
she can also cast spells.
right, so
No, true.
Mark Antony completely loses his mind because he got something. You know what I'm saying? He got something, and his mind's is messed up now because he's decided to divorce Julia. He then professes love for
Man, that's a
Cleopatra,
disrespect.
and then the biggest piece of disrespect. Julius Caesar had a son with it was out of wedlock, but it was pretty well understood that this is definitely Julius Caesar's son. This is 100% Julius Caesar's son who Cleopatra had.
Cleopatra even said this
Right.
is Julius
Because
Caesar's
his
son.
name, you want to know what his name was, Eli? Caesarion. His name is Caesarion,
Like
which is like in
cesarean section?
Caesar's son.
Oh,
No,
I thought we
his
were
name
talking about a C-section.
No, but
It is called
no. To be
C-section,
fair,
it is.
there's a part like Caesar, like that is where that name comes from. Like a C-section is from is from that.
I didn't know that.
But
Me either.
Mark Antony said that this is he like legitimizes it. He says that I think this is also Julius Caesar's son. So what he's saying there is Octavian's heirship is false. Like it should be his real blood son right here, not his adopted son. And Octavian's pissed. He goes back and he's like, "Yo, Mark Antony's going wild there with the fucking bush people
He's
because
wilding out. Down
right,
there.
because Egypt is considered like the backwoods because they're like extremely wealthy, but they're like old. Like their technology is just like really old. It's like
They have like these pyramid things.
yeah, they have like but Alexandria is a sick city,
But
it's
they
better planet.
the
It's like
pyramids were used for grain storage,
They
as
s-
Ben Carson said.
yeah, that's what it's
And
for.
they spoke in pictures. Like every
Yep.
time they moved their mouths, like pictures
Yeah.
would come out of them.
Wingdings,
Yeah.
No, wingdings for
yeah,
sure.
wingdings, Egyptian wingdings.
Wingdings.
So, Octavian's pissed, so he goes immediately and opens Mark Antony's will before he's
Damn.
dead, which is not cool, by the way.
That's kind of fucked up,
But
bro.
luckily for him, he was right because he's like, when he divorced Julia, Octavian immediately knew, like, all right, something else is up with this. So he opens the will and he sees that Mark Antony has changed his will to where he's going to leave the whole section that he has as a console to Egypt and Cleopatra.
Yep.
And so
What did she do to that man?
Right, that's what I'm
Oh.
saying, dude.
What did she do to
That's what
that
I'm
man,
saying,
bro?
dude. So,
If you guys didn't
Ray-
know, is treason.
yeah, this is full on. He now gets to say to the Senate and to all of Rome, Mark Antony is an enemy of the state. We should send an army
Traitor.
down there and kill him like that. And everyone is like, yep,
And
go get Mark Antony.
If you guys didn't remember, Mark Antony doesn't have boats anymore.
No, he doesn't.
So
No, he's going to rely on Egyptian boats, which is not good. They're not good.
Those things go in a straight line.
Right. So
they ain't got rudders.
Mark Antony
They run on
and
grain.
Cleopatra.
It comes from the pyramids.
Now, the weird part about this is they don't have as
They're
good
made
of a
of
military
sand.
though, but Mark Antony and Cleopatra decided to take it to Italy, take the fight to Italy. We're going.
Egypt has like a bunch of scarabs they use in battle.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the mummy.
Now
And mummies and shit that they have summoned.
And,
Mark
and the
Antony
Rock.
though,
And aliens.
yeah, they have aliens.
And
What do they call
those?
those? What do they call the aliens? What do they call those? The
Wing-
Anunnaki.
Slaves.
Wing dingers.
The Anunnaki, the wing dingers, the Anunnaki. Now,
Dude,
yeah,
I just am really impressed by
Interrupt me.
the Egypt's use of mummy soldiers.
yes,
Really cool.
yes.
Just one of the coolest things in
Ant
history, to
lions?
be honest. Antlion swarmers.
And the Scorpion King from the movie The
Scorpion
Mummy
King.
was
Yeah,
there.
The Rock.
Scorpion King.
Yeah, the Rock was there
Rock's
for
there.
sure. Brendan
Uh,
Fraser was in Rome.
Brendan
and he-
Fraser's there.
And he's
Yeah,
like,
yes.
this is crazy.
That's actually one of Agrippa's soldiers. Is Brendan
Yep.
Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
This is
Was
crazy.
1911.
Yep, yep, yep.
One 1911, you could have been the king of the world back then.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
took one 1911 with one magazine. You could have done enough to been like, you want me to prove to you I'm a king? Literally, you want me to prove it?
Walk-
Shoot the
just-
guy across the room.
just
Like,
walk
okay.
into the fucking room, just shoot him right in the head. How's that for 23
Right.
times?
Right. So, Mark Antony and Cleopatra, we're going to fight. All right, fuck it. We'll go to war with Rome. It's a stupid idea, by the way. Egypt just has money.
What
they
does
have
Cleopatra have, bro?
That's
Sorry,
because
guys.
she done it. It's happened several times, right?
Yeah, no.
So,
Alexander.
yes. No, but they had what? No, it wasn't. Why would you mess me up like that? You made me look like an idiot from all my dogs. Like he didn't know anything. He thinks Alexander was right before Julius. No, but Cleopatra, Mark Antony on the way to battle. They stop in the Atonian Sea, the coast of it. That's like right off of Italy. They stop there, and Mark Antony's being a wuss. He will not attack. He just sits there on the coast until Agrippa has enough time to make it all the way around and just
With his
barricade them
boats.
in
With his boats.
Yeah, with Mark Antony's boats, barricades them in, and while Octavian marches their whole giant ground force at this point across the Alps, actually, not the part of the Alps that Alexander crossed, but another part of the Alps. He crosses the Alps and then attacks them from behind. Pause and. By the way, it wasn't much of a fight. It was like, this is known as like, the Battle of Actium. It's like it is known as like one of the, in the ancient world, one of the worst battles. Like one of the most lopsided, large battles ever. Because the Egyptian forces had literally starved to death. Agrippa just sat in the ocean until they starved. There's men dying of malnutrition. Cleopatra and Octavian do make it out of this. Octavian kills himself. I don't know why he just didn't die there.
Not
Yeah,
Octavian,
no.
Mark Antony.
Yeah, Mark Antony. I'm sorry.
Mark
Mark Antony and Cleopatra make it out. But Mark Antony kills himself very quickly after this. Cleopatra is caught and brought in front of Octavian, and Octavian's like, I'll let you live. It's if you beg for your life, and then you have to parade around your nation naked. And she's like, I won't do it. And I think a snake bites her or something. I think she lets a snake bite her. Or that's from the play. That's from the play. That's not from the real one.
Is that she's in the play?
I don't know. Or a movie. There's a movie where
Yeah,
she
I
bites.
know
I don't
there's
think
the
that
big-
she did kill herself. She killed herself. So
But never mind.
yeah,
I'll
Octavian
talk
pretty
about
much
this off
just
the
brought her in
cast.
front of court, in front of everybody, to embarrass her until she killed herself. So
Didn't she-
brutal.
Didn't he parade her around Rome first?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's bad.
No, it was
And let me
huge humiliation.
not
back then.
forget, he murders Caesarion, who's like 19, who is the king of Egypt. He's the
Really,
king of
he
Egypt.
kills him.
And also,
Kills him.
just
Wow.
remember, Octavian is not the emperor yet.
No,
He
now
is
but
doing
he
this
did.
all before he is. The
Yeah,
emperor.
or Octavian.
It's-
Octavian's
yeah,
doing this all
Octavian.
before.
It is insane.
Yeah,
Well,
Octavian
who-
is still
Is there just not? Is there just not an emperor at this time?
No, they're consuls.
Yeah.
Okay.
They never call themselves. So that's another thing that Octavian is very careful about doing. Do not call yourself king or emperor. Don't call
Yep.
yourself any of that. Make them think
But-
you're just a consul who is just like a government official.
But it's also like
I'm a servant of the state.
Rome was still technically a republic at
Yeah,
this point. Still.
the empire is technically
Yeah.
not started yet. The
Yeah.
empire is obviously started, but like technically it's still the republic, and technically Octavian is a consul. He's a
Yeah.
government official that's been a thing forever. Which is epic
Like,
how he
let-
gets out of this,
he
how he
just-
gets
he just
becomes
lets,
emperor.
lets the people name him
Yeah.
emperor.
Yeah,
and
the
then
highest
there you
thing
go.
he calls himself is technically princeps. He'll
Yeah.
call himself. He starts what's called the princeps.
Princeps.
Yeah, that is the emperor. Whoever's the princeps is the emperor, but they don't call themselves emperor because we're not technically a king or dictator. But he does become though at this point the owner of Egypt.
Yep. He
My
owns
man
literally
owns
all.
Egypt.
Of it.
Yeah, he just owns
literally
it. And
all of
Egypt is the wealthiest place in the world.
That's
He
crazy.
he
Man owns
says,
Egypt.
"Fuck it, I own Egypt now."
Yep.
So,
A lot of sand there.
what? There's money though.
gold.
A lot of
There's money,
sand there.
Gold.
Yep.
It's the gold, and also the Nile River Valley is like it's better farmland than anything Rome has. It's way better farmland. It doesn't rain, but the Nile River Valley floods, and it's like the Mississippi Delta. It's just like constant flooding, and then there's a lot of nutrients, and it's constant sun, so you can grow like two crops a year.
Sugar cane.
No,
and
like
stuff
rice.
next to it. Oh,
Maize and shit.
oh.
I don't know if they ate maize. I think that's in
potatoes,
America.
and
But
carrots, and
yeah. And
Watermelon.
carrots
yeah, watermelon,
out of the
and
dust.
cocoa trees.
So he rules Egypt, and he returns to Rome, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
Returns to
in Italy.
Rome. He's the triumphant is gone. Lepidus is praying and shit.
Yeah. Mark Antony
Mark
is
Mark
Antony's
Antony's
dead.
dead,
fucking dead,
and he
and he has
is
nobody
now
left.
Stalin. And he-
Nobody left in his way.
Yep. So, but the wrap up of the story, because I think he does it perfectly, is instead of walking in and going, "Guess who's the emperor now?" and guess what you're gonna call me? You're gonna call me a new name, and I'm the Caesar now. He comes back and goes, "I'm going to retire from public life. I have served the Roman people good. I have ridded the state of all of its enemies. I have avenged my uncle's death, and now I'm going to return home to become a striver again, like my father, my biological father was. I'm going home." And what's the Senate do? No,
No,
you can't
no,
leave.
please
You've
don't
saved us.
leave.
We'll call you the revered one. We'll call you Augustus. That's what Augustus
Yeah.
means.
Based.
You're the revered one. You saved us. We're going to change your name. You are now Augustus Caesar. You are Caesar. You are going to be princeps. We want you to be imperator, consul, which means that's where the word emperor comes from. We want you to be what was this? Oh, there's another part of his name. His name literally translates to first citizen. The revered first citizens, like
Yeah.
what his name technically transfers to or refers to. So, which is it's a onomatopoeia where it's like
No, onomatopoeia sounds.
what's it when you're like have a juxtaposition,
Juxtaposition.
right? Because like you're saying the first citizen idea is supposed to be that like I'm like anybody else. I'm the first citizen. But then I always like that it's the first citizen, but it's the revered first citizen. Like, don't fucking forget it. I'm Augustus. I'm number one. And so now after that, he's now Augustus. He's full reign. 55 years now, he is going to set up Rome to become 450-year-old empire, and no one would have done it if no one else has a rule like he does. There's no one else that gets to rule as long as he does.
Yep.
Marcus Aurelius used to rule a long time, but he dies a little early. Like Augustus Augustus now he rules for a long time. It stays sickly.
Super sick. Snot.
Oh yeah,
Dribble of
By-
snot
by
coming
the
out
way,
his nose.
This whole story, he was like bedridden like four different times,
yeah.
almost dead.
And at the end
Almost
here, he thought he was
Yeah.
going to die.
and,
That's
then,
why.
and then he miraculously
yes,
recovered
and that's why he
somehow.
gets really obsessed with the air thing.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to die at any moment. But he is legitimately he reforms Rome. He reforms how all these things work. He's the reason we set up. The only thing he didn't do well was he tried to go conquer Gaul, got abolished. Rome does not. Rome does not extend their borders for like another 100 years after him. But he's
Because
the
didn't
one
he-
that gets like the central. What is Rome? He's the one that sets that up.
Didn't he say that too?
Yes,
He was
yes.
he was literally like in his will he was like
No-
no new emperors shall extend the borders of
Right,
Rome
yep.
any farther than it already is.
Right.
And
So,
that-
and
and
that would
stayed
that would
that
be
way for
honored
a
by like
very
5
long
emperors.
time. Yeah.
Who rules after him? Tiberius?
Tiberius, his stepson. So, and I'll talk about that in
Tiberius
future
Septim.
episodes. Yep. There's some. He does have some good guys that should have been heir. Germanicus almost became
Agrippa.
Agrippa probably
Well, didn't
should have,
Agrippa
but
die?
Agrippa dies before he does.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. It's like a really like. I will give that story to close because it's just a story of the homies. This is a podcast centered around the dogs and the homies.
Yes.
Later in life, Octavian's older, Agrippa's older. Agrippa is actually preparing to like soldiers. He's doing training. He's like going around because also or Octavian starts paid army, like not paid by like looting, but paid by the state. He starts to put the Praetorians. He starts like a lot of like stuff that's like an institution of the Roman world. But Agrippa's going around doing this, and he gets sick, real bad sick, and like they know he's going to die, and he dies before he can make it back to Rome. So Octavian finds out. He rides out to bring him back in, and he says, "I'm returning to Rome alone this time."
So sad, bro.
So sad, so sad.
Terribly.
He said, "Agrippa, if I never had to worry about one person, he was always there." Because, dude, some of the emperors just have to worry about, like, a wife. Like, you piss off a wife bad enough back then, they'd still stab you and probably, like, marry the next emperor. So, I hope y'all enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I hope I covered that to an extent where it's kind of understandable, the rise and fall.
They did pretty well.
Yeah.
The
Was the play better?
yeah, they kind of strayed from the play a little bit, but I mean, adaptations and all that. You can't be perfect, so.
Yeah, man.
But it was pretty cool though.
I try my best. Hopefully, I mean, this will get better in time. I'm sure I'll have you boys back on.
Yeah,
Appreciate
next
that.
time
Oh, I'd
I'll
love
look up the right information this time. So.
I will not look up anything next time. Just like
Yeah,
I
you
did this
shouldn't.
time.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't. Dogs, dude, I appreciate y'all
I'll
coming
be
on.
right up there with you.
Dude, I appreciate it. Jack, you're a big help, dude. So I appreciate y'all showing up, though, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I live
Fun-
here.
fun little time.
Yeah, we
Me and
already.
Lyndon
This
live
is
here.
Where
this.
we live.
We did borrow the studio from you guys, which damn the vibes.
Dude,
Another 3 minutes down the road.
it's nice. It was a good night for it. Nice
Yeah, it's rainy
Yeah,
night,
it's
stormy
rainy.
night. Just talking about Roman history, the
Yeah.
important stuff.
After eating some
Fuck
Thai food.
politics.
Oh,
Bring
yeah.
Thai
We
food
did
up.
eat spicy Thai
Waited
food.
2
I love
hours
Thai
for the
food.
Thai food to come out.
I'm not going to do any accents about that. So
Accents.
we'll close this for
Yeah.
a bad accent comes out. Also, subscribe, like,
Cut that notification bell on.
Click that bell, comment or
Yeah.
something.
Guys, make sure to like,
You
comment,
subscribe.
and subscribe.
If you subscribe, first
Hit
100
that-
subscribers, I'm
smash
giving away.
that freaking bell.
We're going to give away a phone game controller. Y'all know what I'm talking
We're
about?
going to
yeah.
explain how Cleopatra hypnotized these men if you subscribe, like.
Because she
turn
had
notification
that.
bell
You know
on.
why? I'll go ahead and tell you why.
No, don't.
Because she had that Agrippa.
Wait, stop,
She had that
stop.
Agrippa. All right, that's it. That's all.
Lyndon will release. Lyndon will give you a code for a Brawl Stars skin.
This is sponsored by Dollar Shave Club.